hope you're ready. This is going to be exciting.
And we got career starts up to go. Green flag is out and we're underway.
Just a few laps into this. Oh, the 37's getting loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, they're going 3 wide.
We've got a 5-way fight for the win of this race coming to 4 laps to go. He's gonna win it here in spectacular fashion.
Welcome, Goat Locker Racing fans, to the land of corn. It is the Lincoln Tech IndyCar Series presented by Goat Locker Racing right here on V-Speed. And Week 12 brings us to Iowa Speedway before our Thanksgiving break and also serves as our last oval race until championship night. I'm your host, Logan Threlkeld. Alongside me back again is Daniel Cunningham with Michael McCarthy running the production truck with cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Daniel, we had you last week for some road course action. This week we're taking it to just shy of a 1-mile oval. How are you feeling about the competition out here in practice so far?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Saw a lot of different names up there at the top of the speed charts in practice. Maybe somebody able to get up there and mount a challenge to Rick Ravon to take the checkered flag here this evening. The track itself is going to be a unique challenge as well ever since they did the repave on it. Just a lot more grip in the bottom lanes of the track. So should be a good one here this evening.
I'm expecting to see quite the show from our drivers. We've got a decent-sized field here tonight, just over 15 drivers. But let's take a look at our points coming into tonight's event. We know Rick Ravon sitting pretty well on the top of the board. We'll run through it here in the meantime. Rick Ravon with 404 points on the board. Christopher Gosch in P2 with 280. Tyler Justice in P3 on the standings, 258 points. And Jamie Libke with the win on the season, boosting themselves up to 218 points for P4. Devin Smith with 214, rounding out your top 5. Jake Ham, Warren Clayton, Brian Provo, Mike Browning, rounding out the top 10 here for our IndyCar series. Well, let's talk a little bit about Iowa while we have an opportunity. Qualifying just now coming down to the last minute here. There we go. Just a little bit east of Des Moines, Iowa, we have Iowa Speedway in Newton with 12 to 14 degrees of banking in the corners, just shy of that 1 mile mark, 0.88 miles around. We only have 75 laps on the board tonight, Daniel, so we're only going to see about 66 miles of action here.
Yeah, it's going to go by quick if we get some green flag runs in here. And one thing, too, you see there on the Google Earth image, that is Iowa before the repave. NASCAR repaved the track before they went there, just their first time in Cup just last year. And they basically repaved the bottom 2 lanes of the track. It'll be pretty clear to see once we get into the race this evening, and you're going to see that there's just a lot more grip in those lanes. So if drivers venture outside of that, probably not going to have a good time getting through the turns, but it'll definitely present some unique challenges, especially with trying to find the clean air in these Indy cars.
It'll be decent practice for that season finale race at Michigan, just 3 races away from today. Of course, Portland coming up next after the Thanksgiving break next week. And we're going to take it out west to Laguna Seca for our penultimate race. And of course, finishing things off at Michigan International Speedway. So last chance to get these cars dialed in on how they turn left versus left and right. But it looks like our qualifying session is completed. Daniel, what do we say about getting right into the grid? Let's have a look at who takes our Jam Printing and Promotion Pole Award. And that will be none other than the number 1 of Rick Ray Vaughn yet again. Lincoln, apologize. Jam's, since forming in 2013, Jam has contributed printing and promotional sponsorships to more than 60 local nonprofits with a primary focus on organizations that assist veterans, women, and children. They've been with Goat Locker Racing since the very beginning. Local and veteran certified. When they do well, they do good in the community. Rick Ray Vaughn with what I'm sure is close to his 10th Jam Printing and Promotions Pole Award on the season. But a driver that we were talking a little bit about pre-race, starting to his outside. It's the 91 of Christopher Gosch taking up P2. Not far behind that qualifying time of Rick Ray Vaughn, 17:076 and a 17:099 on your front row. In row number 2, the 24, Devin Smith, starting in P3 with the 36 of Samuel Joseph. That Bucky's car. Keep your eye out there. Starting out in the 5th position, looking to claim another win on the season, the 16 of Jamie Libke will start out next to the 82 of Jason Kristen for row number 3. In row number 4 is the 33 of Tyler Justice, starting out with the 78 of Matthias Marcamini to his outside. Last but not least, in the top 10, row number 5, it's the 50 of Kyle Deering next to the 85 of Jake Ham.
Starting just outside that top 10, you've got Warren Clayton starting from 11th this evening with Jay Jacobellis rolling off in 12th. Starting in the 13th position here this evening, it's going to be Jonathan Lawless with Wesley Burke starting in 14th to his outside. Rounding out our field here this evening, Big Daddy Jeremy Gardner making an appearance here in the IndyCar Series this evening. He's starting in 15th. DJ Patterson starting in 16th.
We know Gardner has some really quick pace on a lot of these other cars. He does very well on the Saturday GT3 Series. Of course, not being on a road course tonight, all the oval experience will have to come in play here for Jeremy Gardner, but keep an eye on him. Very good driver to watch, thumb up through the field. He can do it in a hurry. But Rick Ray Vaughn, Christopher Gosch, Devin Smith, Samuel Joseph, Jamie Libke, a lot of names up here in the top 5 that were showing some very promising lap times in practice. And you know, it's you had to hope that maybe some of that practice was spent in the dirty air. Obviously, we've seen time and time again throughout the season on these oval tracks that these cars just don't quite turn the same. These drivers have to be able to adapt and improvise and ultimately overcome whatever kind of aero blocking they might be up against tonight. It's going to be a challenge all in itself, not to mention, you can see perfectly down the backstretch here, a little bit of banking down the backstretch. It's not an entirely flat straightaway. So these drivers will have to navigate that as well as just a difficult race car for ovals. Pace car comes off, and for the first time tonight, Christopher Gosch blinks on the front row. That could be bad, but Rick Ray Vaughn is away. No! That is
that is massive
scenario.
net code.
Looks like that blink from Christopher Gosh is going to cause just mayhem right off the rip. Rick Ray Vaughn down into the grass. He's followed down into the grass as well, but we're going to keep it going here. Green flag stays out. Samuel Joseph, Jamie Lipke up at the front of the field. Tyler Justice hot on Lipke's rear wing.
Yeah, that was just absolute chaos there when Christopher Gosh blinked out, came back on the track. It net coded a couple of different cars. You could kind of see it there on that initial start. Just when he reappeared, he was phased inside of it. Looked like Samuel Joseph's car. Joseph didn't get anything out of that, but just taking a look at the running order, that put Rick Ray Vaughn down 12 spots and Devin Smith, the other big loser out of that, down 13 spots, actually running in last on the field right now. So unfortunate beginning for them, but Samuel Joseph here has taken this opportunity to pull out to a pretty big lead here early on, already 6/10 clear over the field.
That's exactly what you have to do when you're handed an opportunity to get away from a tough driver like Rick Ray Vaughn so easily. You have to make every single bit of it count. So we're going to see, there's that 117 of Warren Clayton stuck up on the high line. That's Wesley Burke in the 09 working down the bottom in the white and purple. Christopher Gosh now trying to work his way back up. He's going to clear in front of Warren Clayton up out of turn 4. Some side-by-side action that looked like was starting to happen behind. I believe that's going to be Rick Ray Vaughn trying to work his way back up now on attack. Here goes the number 1 machine. JJ Cabela's
Big contact with the wall.
Wow.
That looked like Jeremy Gardner, I believe, that just made that contact with the wall, and that is indeed Jeremy Gardner. Yellow flag is out on the speedway. And that was another driver, Jason Kristen, in the 82 that was spun in a separate incident there. So 2 different incidents, and I believe the Jason Kristen incident is actually what brought out the caution because Gardner kept it pointed in the right direction. So let's go back and take a look here. This is the 82 of Kristen and actually Jeremy Gardner racing side by side there. Oh yeah, contact there that shoots Gardner into the wall, and then I didn't see what happened to Kristen there separately, but he was spun over in turns 1 and 2 after that initial contact with Gardner.
I thought it was the same thing. We were looking back at the Gardner incident.
Oh, he lost the rear wing of the car.
Rear wing hanging on by a thread. Kristen, no downforce available. Just ends up losing the rear end. That sums it up pretty well there. But that contact with Gardner, and then followed up with some contact. That's actually what knocked off the rear wing of Kristen.
Yeah,
likely didn't even
Rick
know.
Ray Vaughn. It looked like that was the one car of Rick Ray Vaughn that actually made just a little bit of contact, but that rear wing was so delayed in coming off of the 82 car that, yeah, you're right. He probably had no idea that he had actually lost the wing at that point.
Like Rick Ray Vaughn will come out of it with no damage. These drivers will have some work to do. Samuel Joseph still holds on to the lead. Tyler Justice in P2. Jake Ham up to P3. 7 spots gained from the early race calamity. Started P10 up to a podium spot for now. Christopher Gosh falls way back in the field, not as far as Rick Ray Vaughn, but able to work his way back up to P4 for the time being. I'm sure the 91 team is happy to see that yellow flag wave and kind of settle the score here, even it back out. Rick Ray Vaughn not faring the same way, still finds himself back in the 13th position, but at least doesn't have to trail the field by a half a corner to start catch up and passing people again.
Yeah, and also something of note here, a little bit of a split strategy here with this caution. Top 10 drivers did not come down pit road. The rest of the field from 11th on back did come down that time by. It looked like Matthias Marcamini may have done a fuel-only stop there, only 3 seconds in the box. A few others coming down, getting damage fixed from those incidents, but it's definitely a little bit of a split decision here on the field.
I don't dislike the idea by any means. We have very minimal laps completed here. We're going to extend the fuel run just a few laps here, of course, able to change that engine mapping all the way up to engine tuning 8, save some fuel under the pace conditions. Back down to engine map 1, hopefully for most of the field. I know I've seen some people that occasionally forget to turn it back down to engine map 1, and it causes some issues. We'll hope that that doesn't happen here today. Samuel Joseph, Tyler Justice, Jake Ham, Christopher Gosh, Wesley Burke making up your top 5. Burke, another driver, up a whole handful of positions. 9 spots gained for the 09. Started 14th up to P5. Happy with the early race effort, I am sure. I believe the pace car lights are off. We should be going green this time by. Remember our ovals, single file restart here. It looks a little funky, but it works. Pace car comes off. We're going to start this thing back up for the second time tonight. And green flag waves. Samuel Joseph away in a big
car
spin.
in the wall already. That's Wesley Burke.
Oh my goodness. We're going to collect a couple more. Burke hard into the wall. That was out of I believe he was the 4th position there, maybe 5th. That would have to be 4th from the apologize, still single file. So just 2 spots up ahead. Might have been P3 actually for Burke. In the top 5 regardless. Who else did we collect there? J. Jacob Ellis with a black flag. Matthias Marcamini with a meatball flag. Rick Ray Vaughn with a meatball flag as well. There it is, just the contact to the car that was stopping in front of him. Gonna rip the nose cone off of the number 1 machine.
Yeah, that's just a really strange incident. The only thing that I can think is just maybe tire spin, maybe was down a gear lower than what maybe you had practiced some restarts with. I mean, Logan, you would be able to speak to this a little bit better than me, but I don't think we typically see a ton of wheel spin on restarts in these Indy cars, do we?
Not typically. It is different, but we are, again, on an oval, a little bit of a stack up there in front, so it could have been a quick stab of the pedal. It could have... There's a couple different things that could really happen at play here. And just an unfortunate circumstance to see so many race cars that are broken now and having to use a fast repair, get back out into the field. You don't have that safety net going to the back half of the race. You have to essentially modify your entire race from this point on and just try to make the best of it. So we've got Jeremy Gardner already using his fast repair, Jason Christen using his fast repair, Wesley Burke, J. Jacob Ellis, Rick Ray Vaughn. A lot of drivers there that have potential to be up in the top 5 that will have to play it a whole lot more safely now.
Yeah, you definitely hate to have to burn that fast repair so early on here, but still a lot of time to go that these drivers can work their way back up through the field. And you can see their lights are still on that pace car. So going to have at least 1 more lap around before we get the 1 to go. So while we have a moment here, Logan, what do you say we take a second and thank one of our league sponsors, that being the title sponsor of the series, Lincoln Tech. Definitely want to make sure we give them a shout out. Lincoln Tech's mission is to provide superior education and training to our students for in-demand careers in a supportive, accessible learning environment, transforming students' lives and adding value to their communities. They're one of the largest automotive technology schools in the nation with 23 campuses. They are, of course, the title sponsor of this IndyCar series and a very large partner of Goat Locker Racing. We appreciate all of their support that we have here.
We see a couple takers down pit road now. Jason Christen, one of them. Looks like Kyle Deering going to come down behind as well. DJ Patterson joining. Jamie Lipke, Jeremy Gardner, Wesley Burke, J. Jacob Ellis, Rick Ray Vaughn all came down last lap. Either tires, fuel, or that fast repair usage. Keep an eye on these 3. Jason Kristen out of the box pretty quickly. Kyle Deering now coming off pit road. DJ Patterson out of the box, joining the field once more. Pace car lights are off this time. Give it attempt number 3 here at Iowa Speedway. We'll see if Samuel Joseph can hold on to this lead. Into the Geico restart zone we go. Green flag waves once again. And a much better start this time. We're going to make it down into turn 1. A little bit of an attempt to pass back here in the back. That's Rick Ray Vaughn working around the outside of J.J. Cabells and Wesley Burke. Now coming up on a pack of 4. This will be interesting to see how that number 1 machine can manage getting around so many cars at one time. Gardner moving up the field now up into the 8th position around the 16 of Jamie Libke. Here's that pack back here. Mix 3 wide down through 3 and 4.
3 wide, definitely. It's a little bit sketchy here at Iowa in any race car, let alone with as aero sensitive as these Indy cars are. And you can see one driver that has no fear with not having that fast repair anymore. That is Rick Ray Vaughn, already up to the number 7 position, looking for a little bit more here, trying to find his way up to 6th around Devin Smith. Even going up outside of that grip, the grippier part of the racetrack there. Does a nice job carrying a ton of speed. Rick Ray Vaughn on the charge right now, trying to get his way back into contention.
We are talking about the driver that sent it 3 wide, turn 3, final lap at the beginning of the season at Texas Motor Speedway. So Rick Ray Vaughn not afraid to use this car to its max potential. Samuel Joseph, Christopher Gosch, Tyler Justice still holding down the top 3. They all have some distance between them, about 0.7 of a second or better. So Samuel Joseph happy to be up here in the front with all that clean air. Really playing to his benefit. We're still on board back here with Rick Ray Vaughn, trying to work the inside of Jake Ham, coming up on Warren Clayton. Nearly 3 wide. We are 3 wide. My goodness, Ham and Clayton so close together. Opened up the door for Rick Ray Vaughn. Now he's going to step his foot right inside. To the inside he goes. I'd say he will be clear of that 85. Yes, there he goes. Middle of 1 and 2. Well clear now of Jake Ham.
And you know, Logan, the one thing I'm noticing about Rick Ray Vaughn compared to pretty much everybody else right now is watch how he keeps that car on the exit of the turn. You can see where that grip, like that darker portion of the racetrack, extends further in that outer lane. And he's keeping it in that outer lane where there is the more grip longer than anybody else. Seeing a lot of other guys, you can see it with Jake Ham there as he actually gets into the wall behind Rick Ray Vaughn. That's going to be some big damage for the 85 car, but I've been seeing it a lot throughout practice, a lot during the race. These guys are just washing up so far on the exit of the turn. And once you hit that light gray area, that's it. You just lose everything you've got up there. You lose all the turn in the car. And Rick Ray Vaughn just not doing that to this point. He's making sure that he keeps it where the grip is, but you can see right here, Jeremy Gardner, another driver, trying to make some moves here. He's going to get around Jake Ham for the number 6 position. And it was a pretty hard hit to the wall, especially for an Indy car. So I would have to think that Jake Ham probably has some aero damage or suspension damage, maybe a little bit of both. Not showing a meatball flag currently, but definitely hurting for grip after that incident.
Certainly got lucky with a hit of that caliber, but a lot of these drivers now, like you said, starting to...
Sorry to cut you off there, Logan. I just saw Tyler Justice was parked to the inside of the track. He was running up there in the top 3 earlier, and he is now towed and went back to pit road. So I know during the truck race last Friday, he actually had an issue with his wheel disconnecting on the final lap. Got to wonder if it's another hardware malfunction for the 33 car.
Back here on my side of things to take a look, see if we can identify. It doesn't look like anything. Oh, but we do have a yellow now on the live action. Looking back at the Tyler Justice incident, looks like DJ Patterson just up ahead was a little bit slower coming out of turn 4, just as not enough time to react to it and knocked off the front nose. Let's take a look back here at the V-Speed Instant Replay. See what did bring out our caution here. Looking at the battle just up ahead.
Oh,
Lipke,
good night.
oh my goodness. A big hit from behind. Lipke heavily damaged. Wesley Burke heavily damaged. I think we had one more driver involved in this as well. No, they actually recovered it. Recovered it quite well there. Man. Lipke and Burke, however, just two massive hits. 16 still out on the track trying to limp it back around to pit road. Burke has since towed it to pit road.
And for Wesley Burke, that's going to be a night ender because he had already used his fast repair on one of the previous incidents. So that's going to be the end of the race for the 09. Unfortunate ending here for him. And, you know, I couldn't help but think there was watching that incident. I was taking a look earlier at our live chat out there in YouTube. And Parks Motorsports, going to have to assume that's Daniel Parks, one of our drivers here at Goat Locker, said earlier, do we see anyone flying through the air? And we just about got it there. Just about, but not quite. So I don't think that counts as full liftoff just yet.
And not quite to that point. But it was very close. Very close indeed. Devin Smith being named the cause of incident here. 24 coming down in front of the 16 of Lipke, causing the checkup. Smith will receive an EOL penalty for that. We'll start at the very end of the single file line once those pace car lights go off. Looks like we'll go one more time around at least here at Iowa. So we'll open up the door to say thanks to another one of our fantastic sponsors, and we'll say thanks to Save 22 for everything they do. Save 22 is a 501c3 organization dedicated to preventing suicide among veterans, active duty personnel, and first responders. Our unwavering mission extends to 4 critical pillars, and that's shield, assist, volunteer, and educate. You can visit them at save22.vet. Check them out, everything that they do. We thank them for everything that they do. Being a massive part of Goat Locker. Christopher Gush now inherits the lead after the pit cycle. Got ahead and out of pit road faster than Samuel Yosef. Back to the second place position. Rick Ray Vaughn back up into a podium spot. Clean race car for now, but number 1 does not have that fast repair left in the tank. Keep that in mind. Matthias Marcamini in P4, followed up by the 42 of Jeremy Gardner. Up 10 spots now for Gardner to the top 5. See if he can hold on to it, sporting the Kyle Larson Indy 500 paint scheme. Pace car lights are off. We'll get this thing going here momentarily as they work their way down the backstretch, 50 miles per hour on the pace laps. Just a smooth 40 miles an hour with the pit road limiter. 4 tire sets available. That's 1 to start on the cars, 3 over the wall. We have used 1 set of tires now. Let's make it 2 remaining for the back half of the race. Pace car comes off. Gosh takes it to the green. And away we go here at Iowa Speedway to start lap 36 of 75.
Yeah, already approaching the halfway point of this race, even with the cautions early on here. As you can see, battle for second is on. That is Rick Ray Vaughn trying to take it away from Samuel Yosef, but Yosef doing a nice job up there on that higher groove. Cuts right down in front of Rick Ray Vaughn, catches a little bit of the apron, able to hang on to it. Both drivers able to keep it underneath of them. I don't believe there was any contact, but boy, was that close, Logan.
That was the defensive move of a lifetime coming out of Samuel Yosef. As Rick Ravon nearly gets up into the wall coming out of turn 2, the dirty air playing into Yosef's favor now. I'd say that's exactly the effect that he was going for, as he nearly clips the wall coming out of turn 4. Side by side now for Jake Ham. Jeremy Gardner back here for the top 5 spot. Gardner on the inside, Ham on the outside. Ham with a great run coming off the top of turn 1 down to the mid lane of turn 2. Nearly side by side goes Warren Clayton on the outside of Gardner.
Yeah, and Jeremy Gardner there on the bottom. You mentioned it, running that Kyle Larson Indy 500 scheme. Trying to see if he can maybe do his best Kyle Larson impression and give a thumbs up to the rest of the field on the way by. But right now, going in the wrong direction. Back to 8th at this point as Jason Kristen just got by. You can see Warren Clayton there leading this little pack, this little group of 3. Does have Jake Ham right ahead of him, but Warren Clayton trying to find his way up through the field here as well.
Clayton coming from a background of the IndyCar scene. Love seeing him out here in these cars. Very knowledgeable about the series here. As Rick Ravon has closed up the gap back to Samuel Joseph once again. 0.2 of a second separating P2 and P3. Christopher Gosch making the best of this moment. Out over a second ahead of Samuel Joseph in the lead. Joseph still playing defense. Ravon down to the bottom, a much better entry this time into 3 and 4. He'll get side by side, nearly contact. The side pods had to be millimeters away. Rick Ravon holding it down on the bottom all the way around the front stretch, and will get clear of Joseph in the middle of 1 and 2. Joseph not going to let it go away easily. Nearly puts the front wing up underneath those rear tires of the number 1 car. Joseph will have to play the rest of this race very strategically. Rick Ravon, not an easy driver to get around, I would say at this point. Do your best to mimic that line. Try to catch back up with Christopher Gosch and take advantage of the battle between Gosch and Ravon.
Yeah, Rick Ravon, not an easy driver to get around. Not an easy driver to defend either. Samuel Joseph did a really nice job hanging on to that number 2 spot there for as long as he did. But you can see Rick Ravon starting to put a little bit of a gap now over that second place driver of Samuel Joseph, pulling out by almost a half a second now over the third place driver. But up there in clean air, Christopher Gosch is putting just a little bit of a gap here between himself and Rick Ravon, driver of that 91 car. Seems like he's got whatever that early connection issue was figured out. He's got it back up to the front and putting together some pretty quick lap times here.
17.8 flat for Christopher Gosch last time around. The laps can surely tick off in a hurry. Fastest lap on the board right now. Looks like it does belong to Christopher Gosch at the moment. Only 2 drivers in the 17.3 bracket. He's joined by Samuel Joseph, just 1/10 of a, or 1/100th of a second rather, off of his time. Ravon surprisingly not breaking into the 17.3s just yet. However, still just a touch faster than Christopher Gosch last time around. 7/100ths of a second in favor of Rick Ravon. See what they're looking like this time by only 1/100th of a second in favor of Ravon. So Christopher Gosch right now just looking to do everything that he can as he tries to navigate some lap traffic, looking to the bottom, nearly blocked down to the bottom. But a good outcome for him to get around as the C's part for Rick Ravon. He splits it 3 wide middle through 1 and 2. And now just 0.2 of a second separate second and first place. As contact made, Joseph in it now. No, the Bucky's car is down.
Indeed, the Bucky's car is down. That was contact with Jonathan Lawless in the 76 as these leaders were navigating through that lap traffic. And that is going to put us back under caution. And I know, Logan, that one's got to sting a little bit more for a huge Bucky's fan such as yourself. But yeah, that's really unfortunate for Samuel Joseph. I mean, he had been running up here at the front all race long. Not how you want to see him get taken out of contention there. as we ride on board here with Samuel Joseph, and the two, oh yeah, they just make contact right in front of him. Nowhere for the 36 to go, and you can see massive damage. Could not get the car refired to get it back around to the pits. He ended up having to tow after that damage.
The good news for Samuel Joseph, still has the fast repair in his pocket. So we will likely see the 36 back on the field. As I'm saying that, it looks like he has chosen to take it back to the garage. That's a very unfortunate way, not as a Buc-ee's fan, but just as a race fan in general, to see a driver that was running in the lead get taken out of the race before the checkered flag. See Jonathan Lawless down there stuck in the grass. He was able to get it refired and back out around the track. He will likely bring it down pit road. He is down pit road now to use that fast repair, as he does have a meatball flag from the contact. Looks like a couple takers coming down pit road, which could be the final time tonight, Daniel. We are now at that 20-lap mark once we come around this time by.
And how about the strategy play there for Jason Kristen? He actually stays out on this caution flag. He's going to be the race leader. Christopher Gosh in second, Rick Ravon third, Mark Amini in fourth, and Clayton in fifth. And, you talked a little bit, too, about the fast repairs, who's used them, who hasn't. It might be easier to just say who has not used a fast repair to this point, and that would be Christopher Gosh, Warren Clayton, Devin Smith, and Kyle Deering are the only drivers still out on track that have yet to use their fast repair. And actually, also, it looks like Jason Kristen did come down pit road after the leaders did, so that will hand the lead over to Christopher Gosh. But most of these guys without that fast repair now, so that's got to be in the back of your mind a little bit as we get into the final stages of this race.
Yeah, it certainly is. These drivers, they have to constantly be thinking with these race cars. There's not a single moment that you can really just even take your foot off of the gas. So it's going to be all out from here. We'll have a look and see just what happens momentarily. While we have a second, let's go ahead and thank another one of our fantastic sponsors, Cruising Classics. Cruising Classics is located in Columbus, Ohio, and has a beautiful 56,000 square foot showroom filled with hundreds of unique automobiles. There's something for everyone out of their hand-picked selection of muscle cars and hot rods. Come on down and visit the facility today, or check out their website at cruisingclassicsinc.com. They've got some pretty cool stuff. I like to check out their inventory every once in a while, Daniel, just see what they've got. And man, it is, I'm jealous. I just want to go over there and buy the entire stock.
Yeah, they've got some really awesome stuff over there on their website. One of these times, if I ever find another reason to go to Ohio, I would actually love to go out there and visit in person just to be able to see some of this stuff. I know that I can't come home with any of it, but still, it's really awesome just to see what they do have.
Looks like we're still on a possible replay scene here. We'll get it back to live action as we are back underway. Christopher Gosh, Rick Ravon, they got a great restart. Gosh wasn't able to hold on to the race lead. Rick Ravon back up to P1. It's going to be very tough to get back in front of him. Matthias Marcamini up to P3, Warren Clayton P4. Jay Jacob Ellis rounding out the top five. Battle is on. Matthias Marcamini staying close to these leaders. Kind of the first time we've seen Marcamini up here in the battle for the front top three positions, rather. It's kind of been around that top five mark, but now working his way up to the podium spots.
Yeah, Marcamini had to use his fast repair earlier on in the race, so running without that now, as are most of our drivers here in the field at this point. But doing a nice job starting to reel back in these leaders just a little bit, but doing a nice job of keeping touch with first and second here if there is anything that happens between those top two drivers. As we've got one spinning on the front straightaway, doesn't look like it'll bring out a caution just yet, and actually the caution is out.
Oh,
That
it's
looked
another
like
big hit for
Jason
Kristen.
Kristen in the 82, and JJ Cabellas had something happen right before this. That was actually the first driver that I caught spinning there, was the 48 of Jacob Ellis. So two separate incidents, it looks like here. Taking
I
a look at
also
Jason.
heard the 45 at DJ Patterson calling to bring it down pit road.
Oh, good night.
Oh, there's Jacob Ellis. So Jacob Ellis must have hit the wall on corner exit and then came back down the track. Take it back once again. Yeah, loose on exit. Had Warren Clayton to the inside. The drivers behind did a fantastic job. Jake Ham, Jeremy Gardner able to get by with no incident, but unfortunately collects the 82 of Jason Kristen. And that'll be the end of the night for Kristen, as he has already used that fast repair as we just discussed. Jacob Ellis, I believe, in the same boat. Yes, he has already used the fast repair, also still on the back of the tow truck for the 48. So this kind of looks like it may play into favor of some of these drivers that elected to stay out, but now that I'm saying that, none of the drivers stayed out. Last time by, they all came down. So Rick Ravon, Christopher Gosh, Matthias Marcamini, Warren Clayton, Jake Ham in the top five. Could be anybody's ball game up here in the top five, as we will be less than 10 to go once we take the green flag again, Daniel.
Yeah, and we are back to just having 9 cars on the lead lap without damage right now. As you can see, Jason Kristen dropped out of the top 10 after damage on that last incident. Jonathan Lawless just got one of his laps back by way of the free pass on this caution. So, yeah, we're starting to run out of race cars a little bit here, Logan, but only 10 laps to go. See if anybody is able to mount a challenge. As somebody, I think that might have been Jonathan Lawless, that actually spun at the back of the pack here under caution. I think he got caught up a little quicker than anticipated and had to get hard on the brakes to avoid the field. But yeah, just 9 cars on the lead lap here at this point.
Well, we still have, looks like, well, it's just 10 cars even on the field. Jason Kristen, J.J. Cabellas, DJ Patterson still active in the pits. Samuel Yosef, Wesley Burke, Tyler Justice are early retirements of the night. Rick Ravon. It's looking like it could very well be race win number 9 on the season. Again, looking to break some Goat Locker racing history. Be the first driver to hit the double-digit mark in a single season, as he runs away with the current point standings, coming into it with a massive margin. 404 for Ravon in P1, 280 for Christopher Gosh. 124 points separating our first and second place drivers. I don't know if there would be enough time if Rick Ravon even just showed up to the last 3 races. I think it falls in his corner there for the championship, which is crazy to say with still having 3 races to go after tonight's event.
Yeah, that just really shows how fast he has been all season. Even had that win that was taken away via penalty due to not changing tire compounds. So could be going for win number 10 already here tonight if that was not the case previously at one of our road course races. But as you can see, pace car is off. Green flag is back in the air. Rick Ravon with the jump out in front of the field. He is going to lead them down into turns 1 and 2. Battle for position is on back around 4th place there between Warren Clayton, Jake Ham, and Jeremy Gardner. That's the first real hornet's nest we're looking at here, is between those 3.
I don't know if you caught it or not, Daniel. Rick Ravon doing something we haven't seen yet on the restarts, and that's taking it all the way up to the wall coming into that Geico restart zone. Everybody else has been about the middle of the track, if not lower. and he has ran away with it 0.6 of a second out ahead of Christopher Gosch. That battle, though, between Jake Ham and Jeremy Gardner, side by side as Ham gets loose in turn one, trying to save it. He does.
Oh, boy,
He's
what
going
a
to lose the
save.
spots, but wow. I thought this was the IndyCar series. That turned into Tokyo Drift.
That is not something you see in these Indy cars. Typically, once they start to go around, they are around. So massive save there out of Jake Ham. I mean, just great job hanging on to that car, able to continue on here. Let's take a look a little bit further up. Jeremy Gardner now up into that number 4 position. He's trying to chase down these two drivers ahead of him as Mark Amini makes a move here for second. Not sure if Christopher Gosch may be having some of those connection issues again just a moment ago. I don't know if you saw it or not, but it looked like his name dropped way down the running order on our pylon and then jumped back up. But regardless, struggling with the handling is now Jeremy Gardner. He works his way up into a podium position.
It was a combination of the little bit of a connection issue for Christopher Gosch and also making contact with the wall out of turn 4 just 3 laps ago. That's very much slowed him down. Mark Amini was able to capitalize nearly immediately. Jeremy Gardner gets around the lap following. Rick Ravon 1.5 seconds ahead of Mark Amini. Looking back through the field, Jamie Lipke trying to put some pressure on Devin Smith for the 6th position. 0.2 of a second away. 2 to go here as Rick Ravon down through 3 and 4. Coming out of 4 will make it 1 to go at Iowa. White flag is in the air. Rick Ravon with number 9 in his eyes. Matthias Marcamini with, I believe, his first podium opportunity of the season. Followed up by Jeremy Gardner coming in P3 out of turn 4. Ravon takes the win at Iowa.
And again, just a dominant season continues for Rick Ravon. As you mentioned, Mark Amini coming home in 2nd, Gardner in 3rd, Christopher Gosch in 4th. Warren Clayton rounding out the top 5 there. Rick Ravon getting ready to bring it around and do that signature celebration that we've gotten used to seeing out of him this season. And if memory serves, Logan, that is the record breaker for most wins in a Goat Locker Racing season with 9. From what Jake Ellingson, our we'll call him our chief statistician, mentioned last week, the previous record was 8 in any given series held by Andy Kurtz. Rick Ravon, the first to hit 9, and he'll try to be the first to hit double digits. Gotta like his odds at it with 3 chances left this season.
As he parks it on the corn cob and does the signature Ravon shimmy. That's what I'm going to call it. Wiggle the wheels back and forth in celebration. But we're going to take it to a quick commercial break, have a word from our sponsors. We'll be right back with the post-race show and interviews with our top 3. Stick around. You don't want to miss it.
Superior quality, ultimate protection, and the highest level of craftsmanship. We make our gloves for the hard worker that wakes up every morning and gives 110%. You deserve the highest quality protective gear that's going to work for you, day in, day out. We know it can be tough deciding what companies to trust for your hard-earned money. It's all in our name. We've mastered our craft to help you master yours. We make our gloves rugged, durable, and designed for you. Whatever the job is, we have you covered. We are your glove station.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
And we are back in the land of corn. Iowa Speedway has put on a show, and it has finished. 75 laps in the book. Let's take a look at how the rest of the field sorted itself out. We saw Rick Ray Vaughn take race win number 9 on the season. Matthias Ezekiel Marcamini coming home in P2 with his first podium finish of the season here in the IndyCar Series. Jeremy Gardner, with, I believe, his second appearance this season, comes away with the podium in P3 for the 42 team. Christopher Gosch in P4 with the 91 machine after some late contact with the wall slowing him down, unable to hold off for that P3 spot. Warren Clayton rounds out our top 5 with a solid night for the 117, up 6 positions from where he started. Devin Smith in the 24 gets P6, followed up by the 16 of Jamie Lipke, who we saw get smashed a couple of times tonight. A great recovery by Lipke for a P7 finish. Jake Ham, the 85, takes it home to P8 with Kyle Deering in the 50 in P9. And last but not least, Jonathan Lawless in the 76 in our top 10.
And rounding out the rest of the field, the drivers that were not able to complete the race here this evening, that's going to be Jason Kristen in the 11th position, Jay Jacob Ellis in 12th, DJ Patterson coming home in 13th, Samuel Joseph, after being up front leading some laps early on, he's going to come home in 14th here this evening, Wesley Burke in 15th, and rounding out the field this evening is Tyler Justice in the 16th position.
Great race we had here today. A little bit of calamity. We had 5 cautions on the field, 2 lead changes on the night, but we've got some race car drivers ready to talk to us. Daniel Cunningham, I think I've allowed you enough time to work your way down the stairs and down to the winner's circle to catch up with Rick Ray Vaughn.
Hey, Rick Ray Vaughn, this is Daniel, Logan, and Mike McCarthy up in the V-Speed booth. You got us?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Well, man, really solid run tonight. The box score is going to say started first, finished first. However, that definitely doesn't tell the entire story here this evening. Nice recovery to get that win. How were you able to drive up through the field here this evening?
I don't know. I guess I'd have to chalk it up to experience. I mean, basically, iRacing, well, in real life, they kind of ruined this track. Iowa used to be a lot of fun. I mean, it's still fun, but now you can't go outside. I mean, the marbles are just ridiculous. You really have to try to keep it on that black area. That's where all the grip is, and it's just so hard to pass. And you know, with the dirty air, I don't know. I mean, we just put our foot down and hope for the best. And you know, when we spun on the first lap, I was like, oh no, now I'm gonna have to work my way. I don't know if I could do that with the dirty air, but I guess fortunately we got the combination with the bars and the jacker right, and we were able to do it. So.
Well, I have to agree with you that they definitely ruined this place with the repave. I liked it a lot more before they did all of that. But second question here for you this evening. From what we are being told by league admin Daniel Kirkiel, you have officially clinched the IndyCar championship for this season, even with 3 races left in the season.
Yeah,
so,
baby.
So congrats on the bigger prize with that. And just, I was going to say, give us your thoughts on just the season as a whole and any words from the newly crowned champion, but I think you already kind of started off with that.
Well, I knew we had a points lead, but I wasn't really paying attention to how many races are left. Could I lock it up? You know, if you've got a good thing going, you've got your rhythm going and all that, and your momentum, you don't want to you don't want to do anything to put some added pressure on you. So I just figured, let me just keep going with what got us here. And that was just focusing on one race at a time. And, you know, if we end up clinching it, fantastic. If not, we'll just keep going. We'll go to the next race and the next one. But to hear that I got that Goat Locker IndyCar Championship, oh man, that is just awesome. That is just so freaking cool. Thanks for telling me. Wow.
Well, glad that we could be the ones to let you know here live on V-Speed with the interview here this evening. But congrats again on the win, the championship, just a really phenomenal season overall. And before we let you go here this evening, who you want to thank, any sponsors or shout outs?
Yeah, I want to thank, let's see, Matt Wagner and Mark Murphy, all my two greatest friends in sim racing. And I want to thank my wife for putting up with my habit, letting me indulge in this. My kids, of course, everybody here at Goat Locker. Thanks to everybody for putting on this show, and the admins, you guys, of course, at in V-Speed, all the drivers out there that made this so much fun and so competitive, and you know, racing like gentlemen, racing hard, or racing clean. Thanks to everybody out there. Thanks to the Lord Jesus, of course, for saving me by dying on the cross for me, for my sins, giving me eternal life with Him in the kingdom of heaven. I don't know. I'm just beside myself. I got to give it another wiki. I got to give it another wiki in the victory lane. Hey, hold on. Here we go.
The signature Ravon Shuffle, or shimmy, is what I've called that. I should have called it the Ravon Shuffle. We're calling it audible. It's the Ravon Shuffle.
This is for the the first one was for the win. This one is for the championship.
Well, congratulations, Rick Ravon. Get to celebrating with the rest of the team, my friend. We'll catch up with you after the Thanksgiving break.
Well, thank you so much, and God bless you. Have a wonderful, blessed Thanksgiving holiday, brother.
You as well, my friend. You as well. That was our race winner, Rick Ravon, and of course, we can't forget Matthias Marcamini taking home P2 on the night. Unfortunately, unable to join us up here in the booth. Matthias, if you're still watching, my friend, congratulations. One heck of a drive from you. Thought you had the opportunity for a race win here. Just a little bit short, but P2 nonetheless, solid effort. That will open up the booth door here to none other than our P3 finisher, Jeremy Gardner. Jeremy, it's your favorite people, Logan and Daniel, up here in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
For me?
Yes, you are P3 finisher. You started out 15th, though, and worked your way all the way up through the field. You avoided the major issue to start the race, the lap one at the start, then of course, our first caution of the race, and just able to work your way all the way up to the top of the field here. You had a solid chance, a really good battle there with Jake Ham and Warren Clayton. Tell me a little bit about your race tonight.
To be honest with you, I just hopped in because I was bored tonight. And yeah, I don't know. It was fun. Man, these cars push like they're next gens. You get in dirty air and it just plows up towards the wall. So I don't know. I was just riding around tonight, having fun, taking some notes from the guys. Just trying to learn these cars a little bit better. Tyler got his race ended early, so I was trying to, win the race for him there. At least say I got something for the teammates, but that didn't work out. But I had a hell of a run there towards the end. I got tangled up in some stuff early in the race and thought it was going to end my night, but I forgot we got a fast repair. So
well, it worked out, able to get that fast repair on the board and come back out in the field, obviously taking P3. Now, we only have 3 races left. Obviously, we've seen you have great success on Saturdays with the GT3 series. Do we expect to maybe see a board Jeremy joining us in the next couple of road course races? We've got Portland, Laguna Seca coming up.
I'll probably stick to GT3s on that one. Yeah, I was extra bored tonight. I just want to come hang out with my guys, run some laps, learn these cars a little bit better, and get some training in them, I guess. But definitely ended up podium tonight somehow, some way. But I'll take it.
Hey, well, a podium indeed. So that leaves us with one final question. Jeremy Gardner, who do you have to say thanks to or shout out for your P3 finish at Iowa?
iRacing, MK Fire Design, Sim Motion, Lincoln Tech for putting on the series, my guys Premier Racing Setups, Pat and Jamie, and of course y'all guys up in the booth.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us tonight, Jeremy. We're glad to have you filling out the field here and a solid effort. We'll catch you next time.
Who, me?
This guy, I tell you what, can't get rid of him fast enough sometimes. But we are going to bring back Rick Ray Vaughn. He had one or two more people that he'd like to say thanks to. Rick Ray Vaughn, you're back up here in the booth. Heard you had a couple more things to say.
Oh, yeah. I was so excited about winning the championship. I completely forgot to thank our great sponsors. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention them. I'm so sorry. Lincoln Tech, thank you so much for sponsoring this great series. Save 22, of course. Thank you so much for helping out. And the Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs. I can't believe I forgot to thank these guys. They're amazing, and they're on board with Goat Locker. And I got to thank them. I can't thank them enough. And I'm sorry I didn't thank them earlier, but I was like, no, I forgot. I have to thank these guys because they're awesome. So I just wanted to do that. Thanks for letting me back up in here to do that.
Hey, of course, we appreciate you coming back and getting how do I want to say this, the score settled, and getting back up here, saying thanks to them. And again, congratulations on the championship, the race win tonight. Rick Ray Vaughn, everybody.
Thank you, Logan. Thank you, Daniel. God bless you. Thank you.
Well, that will do it for our podium finishers. Daniel, we saw 75 laps of action tonight, 5 cautions, 2 lead changes. Of course, a whole lot of passing being made here, top and bottom of this racetrack there for a short time. What were your thoughts of this oval action?
Yeah, the ovals they get chaotic. They get unpredictable here with the Indy cars. You just never quite know what to expect. This race tonight was no exception, but even with the chaos, even with the unpredictability, back up at the top of the podium again is the driver that spent the most time there this season, Rick Ray Vaughn.
No doubt about it. And we will see after the Thanksgiving break if Rick Ray Vaughn can claim yet another record here in Goat Locker Racing. He broke the most wins in a season here. He's going for that number 10 once we take it to Portland. That'll do it for tonight's action. The post-race show has completed. And for everybody behind the scenes at Goat Locker Racing, Patrick Drabick, Jamie Barkas, of course, everybody else that runs our scoring, our productions, everything. Race control, of course, our fantastic sponsors, Lincoln Tech, Save 22, Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, Jam Printing and Promotion, Alexander PC, iRacing, MK Fire Design, Sim Motion, InVets, just everybody that has a part of this. We thank you for everything that you do and your continued support of Goat Locker. Now for V-Speed, everybody behind the scenes over there, Adam Baker, Bradley Cooper, Morgan Cook, Eddie Smith, and the rest of the crew. And of course, Daniel Cunningham, thank you for joining me in the booth tonight. Michael McCarthy, as always, pleasure to have you gents, with cameras provided by Dougie Beard. I've been Logan Threlkeld. Enjoy your Thanksgiving, everybody, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time on the other side of the country. Good night, everybody.